Hello and welcome to another HanDrinksSolo wine info video, and today we're talking about the Oak Valley Sound of Silence Pinot Noir. I'm going to start off by talking about Pinot Noir's profile, and then I'm going to move on to the flavors and aromas in the glass, and I'll probably finish off with some advice on how to pair this wine with food. But as per usual, you can click on the chapters at will and watch in whatever order you want, because it's all available to you in the timeline of this video below. There's a lovely Afrikaans saying that goes, "Hy is 'n bietjie lig in die broek," which directly translated means he is a little light in the pants, which put another way means his penis is not heavy enough to adequately fill his britches. Now, the beauty of this saying is that it can be used by your nana while she's having tea with the vicar in order to express her sentiments about the new organist. It really isn't seen as anything explicit, it's just that's the nature of the saying. And so, hy's 'n bietjie lig in die broek is a criticism that is often leveled at Pinot Noir. And to be fair, Pinot Noir can be a little light in the pants. It's a very thin-skinned grape. And so as a result of these thin skins, it has a very low phenol content. And as we know, polyphenols are responsible for both tannins and color. And this is why the wine both looks light in the glass and also tastes a little lighter on the tongue. Pinot Noir is also a grape that can ripen in double quick time, which means that unless you grow it in a very cool region, it usually ripens so quickly that there's no window of opportunity for those grapes to develop the delicious, delightfully complex flavor compounds that make for a great wine. And finally, it's also prone to disease because its little bunches are so tightly wrapped that no air can pass through between the grapes, really, which makes it the perfect environment for things like gray rot to develop in those dark, moist spots. It's kind of like wearing very small tighty whities and then going for a long jog on a hot day and then not taking them off for a week. And at this point you might say, Han, you're really not selling this very well. And I'd say, hold on just a second, because at its best, Pinot Noir can provide some of the most mind-altering experiences of any wines in the world. And probably the most famous region in the world that is cool enough to allow these grapes to produce this level of complexity is Burgundy and France. And that is why wines from Burgundy and France are amongst the most expensive of any wines in the world. So this is not all hocus pocus, smoke and mirrors. There is something objectively sublime about a great Pinot Noir. But what of Pinot Noir in South Africa? Well, for the most part, it doesn't really amount to much. Many of our regions are just too warm to allow the grapes that window of opportunity to produce anything more than fancy cherry juice. But there are two notable exceptions, and that is Walker Bay in the Hemel and Ardor type region and Elgin. Luckily, the wine we're drinking today hails from the latter region. More specifically, this Sound of Silence Pinot Noir is grown up at about 450 meters above sea level in these cool, gray, cloudy foothills of the Groenlandberg. But instead of waxing on about the vineyards, I'm just going to let us smell and taste what is in the glass. So as you bring your nose close to the glass, you don't even have to have your nose in the glass to get that first classic Pinot Noir signifier, which is mushrooms. Do you get that? And there's loads that comes after it. There's a sort of fresh leather, and after the leather comes sweeter strawberries, but then contrasted by these tart red cherry elements, cranberry, rose petal, and then a lavender, finished off with a bit of red licorice. So the whole time there's a savory, sweet thing going on between the two. And it's that kind of complexity on the aromas that I think is unique to a wine like Pinot Noir. But enough sniffing. So let's taste it. Now, as expected, you will taste that it is a little bit lighter on the palate, but that doesn't mean that it's not intense. The acidity is amazing. It keeps your mouth watering incredibly. And with it, there is quite a lot of that, again, interplay between savory and sweet. You've got the sweeter strawberry with the sour cherry acidity and also some of that savory mushroom element that comes through. And as I said earlier, if this is a crazy wine that you can't blend with too many things, you're going, well, it doesn't play nicely with other grapes. How do we know it's going to play nicely with food? Well, let me give you a few pointers. One of the most fascinating things for me is that when you serve it with something like perhaps a mushroom risotto, the mushroom element in the wine and the mushroom element in the risotto kind of reduce each other, and all those fruit components get this massive boost. Another thing to bear in mind is Pinot Noir has very low polyphenol content. And so in many respects, it's more chemically similar to many white wines. Often we pair Pinot Noir with lighter white meats, perhaps chicken, pork, or even salmon. And this chemical affinity to white wine is exactly why it pairs so well with many dishes that we would ordinarily associate with white wines. Of course, what it has that white wines don't have is these waves of cherry fruit and rose petal and lavender and strawberry. And so it's really quite a unique experience. Drinking Pinot Noir with, say, a creamy seafood pastèque, all you've ever served with is a Chardonnay. So I would love to spend more time geeking out about this particularly distinctive grape, but that is all the time we have today. So if you have any questions or if you have thoughts on this wine, I'd love you to leave your review in the review section below. And if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so that you can stay up to date with new cultivars, new wine regions, and exciting winemakers that are making waves in the South African wine scene.